that's what I love working about with these boys. Like Sam and Tim are just a font of knowledge, and I'm so glad that I get to work with them, and appreciate the platform once again to be able to discuss these key ideas.
Well, you guys called me and you were like, guys, we're in a Joel, we've got to book something, we're in Sydney, things are happening, banking, debanked and all that. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Look, I think that Tim and Sam are on the money, right? We're witnessing a incredible shift in value at the moment. We're recognizing an incredible transition, right, within the financial system, within the banking system. The banking system hasn't changed all that much over the last 100 years, right? There's been some upgrades, there's been, some online banking portals have come online, but ultimately it's the same messaging system that occurred in the 80s is now still being used today to transfer and receive value internationally. That is old technology, very outdated, very slow, very cumbersome. And the problem isn't just the speed, is that it is gate kept. And people are told what they can do with their funds, how they can spend it, when they can spend it, where they can spend it, why they can spend it. That's not your funds anymore, right? And that's the biggest solution that we provide. Is Bitcoin provides three things. One, it's an open and permissionless network that allows us to transact and send and receive value anywhere in the world without having to go through a gatekeeper or ask for permission. Super important. Number two, it's a store of value because of its limited supply of 21 million Bitcoins. If they keep printing currency at a rapid rate, which they do, there'll be more currency in circulation bidding on this same scarce digital asset. Number two. Number three, it's a means of exchange. It can either be converted into any fiat currency on the planet because it's globally recognized, or it can be traded in kind for other goods and services.
If I can just take 20 seconds of your time, I apologize for interrupting this clip. If you'd like to support Turning Point Australia and what we're doing to help keep the lights on and keep the work going moving forward, please check out our website at tpaust.com.au. We've got a range of merchandise, whether it's the Make Australia Great Again hat, whether it's the other shirts that we have, or the educational maps that we have. Please go and support. If you don't want to buy any merch, that's fine. You can also support us by buying us a coffee and becoming a regular subscriber for as little as $4 a month. I'll let you guys get back to it. Thank you so much.
So that's really what's going to happen, and what Tim's touching on with regards to hyper-Bitcoinization is Bitcoin being used as ubiquitous. It becomes as ubiquitous as, say, the smartphone. It becomes as ubiquitous as email, right? So if somebody says, send me a mail, right, they're not even thinking of you sitting down, writing a letter, licking a postal envelope, putting it down, writing their address, sending it in. If they say, send me mail, right, you're anticipating an email to be received, right? And that's really the direction of where we're going. And when somebody says, oh, look, I'm going to be, I'll be on my way, I'll be there in 15 minutes. Nobody pictures you getting on a horse and making your way trotting down Market Street to get to the next destination. They anticipate you're going to be in a car or in an Uber or something, right? Same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin in the next 10 to 15 years, 20 years, when they say, we go out for lunch, all of us afterwards, and then when we go to square away the bill, we pay in Bitcoin, right? That's hyper-Bitcoinization, where it just becomes as ubiquitous and as everywhere as the iPhone, the phone, car, the car, that and the email. Right? That's the direction we're heading in. And right now, only 7% of the global population has ever used Bitcoin as a means of exchange or as a transaction, in a transaction capacity. Probably a little bit more have used it as an investment within their investment portfolio. But we are so close to hitting escape velocity. Right. And that's why there are so many problems with the banks and the legacy financial system, is they feel the walls closing in, and then there's just Sammy and Bisher on the other side just squeezing the walls in. But we're going to get ahead. We've got the better asset class, and the great thing about our assets is it makes people wealthy instead of putting them into debt. So if you want to get ahead in the legacy financial system, what are you told to do? Go out and get leverage. What do you do with that leverage? You buy a house. Now you're sitting in what is known as a mortgage, which is in French a death pledge. right?
Is that right?
Yeah, Mort is dead and engage is pledge. Right? So that's what that's the.
You're a cultured guy, you know.
I am. I come from a part of the world, a Lebanese Syrian guy, so I understand the French very well.
Really?
But really, what it comes down to is you're committing to yourself to 30 years of debt, and the only way that you can get ahead is that you have to then, if you build up a profitable or equitable position in your property, is you leverage up against that property and get more debt and get another property. So the problem with the commercial banks is they create, get this is insanity statistics, right? 97% of currency is created at a commercial bank level. And I'll explain how. It's through the use of fractional reserve banking, right? You put a $100,000 deposit into the bank, that is no longer your funds. You are considered, and get this, an unsecured creditor. Who gets paid before you in the case of a bank becoming insolvent? First of all, shareholders, people who hold equity within the bank. Secondly, secured debt, people who are holding the bank's debt, right? Otherwise known as bank bonds, right? And then number three, it's yourself. You're the last line to get paid out in a system, in a case where the bank goes insolvent. Here's where it gets really crazy, is that when you deposit $100,000, not only do you become an unsecured creditor, but they can lend out that same deposit 10 times over and create $1 million of the worthless Pacific peso out of thin air. Thin air, boom, just like that. And now that's what you now have to pay, that $1 million that was just created out of thin air. You have to pay an interest rate on that to repay the bank for the privilege of lending you currency that they just created out of thin air. When I turn around and say, guys, 10 years ago, it took 3,400 Bitcoins to buy you the average Australian home in Melbourne or Sydney. Today, it's 5. In the next 5 to 8 years, it'll be 1. 10, 20 years from there, 0.1.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed this particular clip. If you want to support this show and keep the lights on and support everything we're doing at Turning Point Australia, please head to tpaust.com.au, where we've got hats, we've got shirts, we've got maps. And if you don't want to buy any merch, that's perfectly fine. If you want to just buy maybe a cup of coffee a month, for as little as $4 a month, you can help us get a small, long black to actually support the show and actually keep things going. Thank you guys so much for your support. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you later.